So congratulations, you've just bought a Ninja air fryer. They are the market leaders in the UK, and if this is your first air fryer, your life is about to change forever. But what on earth do all the different settings on the front of it do? This video is your quick guide to get you started and on the road to making amazing, speedy dishes in your Ninja air fryer. So let's start with Dehydrate. Now this seems to be a really obvious setting, but it's actually more versatile than you might think. Dehydrate has the slowest fan speed of all the settings and a low temperature range, which is cooler even than a slow cooker. When you select Dehydrate, the timings that you'll see on the display are shown in hours, not minutes. And if the thought of running it for that long makes you worried about your electricity bill, don't be. Actually, these appliances use very little power on these low settings, and so it's quite economical to run them on Dehydrate even for a full 8 hours. You can obviously use Dehydrate to dry out things like herbs and fruit, but it will probably surprise you to discover it's also good for a long, slow cook of a beef roasting joint too. They actually end up really juicy, not dried out. I'll drop a link to how you can do that in the description below. You can also use the Dehydrate setting to prove bread. Now, if you have the Af400 Flexi Drawer, that does have its own prove setting, but if you have the 300 or the 400 like this, use Dehydrate and that will achieve the same thing. You can also use Dehydrate to make yogurt or clotted cream. And if you're wondering why you would bother to make clotted cream instead of buying it, well, speaking as someone who has lived in a few places overseas, there's loads of places where you can't get clotted cream, and my husband loves it. Next up is Reheat. This also runs on a low fan speed and it's good for warming things that you want to stay crisp. If you reheat food in the microwave, as we all know, it tends to go a little bit limp and floppy. But if you use Reheat in the air fryer, then your food will crisp up as it warms. So it's really good for things like slices of pizza, sausage rolls, fish and chips, leftover roast potatoes, and already cooked pastries. But to be clear, it's not, I'm afraid, a microwave, so it will not replace that. Bake is the closest setting to a conventional oven and it has a medium fan speed. It's intended for baking and it's good for the obvious things like cakes, bread, meringues, scone, flapjack, basically anything you might see done on the Great British Bake Off. But you can also use it for pasta bakes and pies. And I always say to people, if you're really nervous about using your air fryer for the first couple of times, just put it on bake because it's the closest thing to a regular oven and it won't mess anything up. And as you get more and more confident, then you can try some of the fastest fan speed settings and the hotter temperatures. Next, we enter the territory of the high fan speed settings. First up, there's roast, which is probably the least cryptic sounding setting on the Ninja air fryer. It has a default temperature of 190 Celsius and is intended for cooking meat, not just roast chicken, but also sausages and any other joints of meat. Now the next two settings, air fry and max crisp, are probably the two that cause the most confusion, but I'm going to clear it up once and for all, hopefully. So both these settings work at the highest fan speed. Air fry has a slightly lower temperature range than max crisp, and it's for things that you might consider putting in a standard deep fat fryer, like churros, donuts, Scotch eggs, breaded fish or homemade fries. I use it for anything which is raw, which I want to be both crispy outside and actually cooked through inside rather than just heated up all the way through. And finally, max crisp is the fastest and hottest setting on the air fryer. Its default temperature is 240 Celsius. And basically use it for two purposes. Either small shop bought frozen items like chips and chicken nuggets, because those things are already partially cooked. So you're actually just heating them through rather than cooking. But mainly the purpose of max crisp is to finish food off at the end of cooking like a grill. In fact, if you buy a dual drawer Ninja in the US or Canada, the max crisp setting is known as air broil. Broil being equivalent to a grill. You don't want to use this setting for anything big or uncooked because the danger is it will cook the outside to a crisp whilst the inside will remain raw. One final tip for you: if you're unsure about what temperature to cook at, Ninja advise 10 degrees less than you would do in a fan oven, and it's usually about 20% less time, but it varies, so keep an eye on it and learn as you go. I hope that was helpful. You're going to have a load of fun with your air fryer, trust me. And if you're wondering about which accessories to buy for it and which ones not to bother with, check out my guide, which is popping up on the screen right now. On this channel, I do weekly reviews and guides to UK appliances. So if you'd like to see more like that, please do hit the subscribe and the notifications. Thanks for watching.